So, when I joined the Air Force back in 1981 out of West Virginia, my first duty assignment was California. And I was kind of excited about that. That was number one on my dream sheet. Dream sheet is what bases you want to pick, and I picked California as number one. I wrote California Dreaming. I got stationed at Beale Air Force Base. And I got there in about the first year, I got made fun of a lot. Basically called country bumpkin and everything else. Because, where I grew up, when somebody told you something, you believed it. You just did, because if somebody lied to you or spread false stories, other than, the women talk, which men didn't pay any attention to, you lost your reputation. And once you lost your reputation, nobody trusted you anymore. So when somebody said something to you, you took them at their word. And I got to California, and that was no longer the case. And I learned pretty quickly to read body language and what they were saying. Years later, my mom came out to live with us, and she lived with us in Alaska and California and Nevada. And she used to come back and she'd say, well, they said all these great things about me and all this. And I'd say, Mom, how'd they say it? Because you gotta understand the context. It's a tri-context, tripole, whatever. What they say, how they say it, and her body language when they say it. And she really didn't know, because she didn't study it. And she when she died, she still didn't understand it, because, I was 19 when I started being experienced to it. She was 55 when she started experiencing it. It just didn't compute with her, Well, I think that's really the GOP today, for the most part. Now, there's some that understand it very well, and they're not on our side. But we walked into it with this rally in Washington, D.C., and I tell you something, I've had a bad feeling about this rally from day one. And I think I mentioned that in an earlier video. My son wanted to go out there. I'm like, no, there's something, it just didn't feel right. And more evidence is coming out that I've been proven right. They've arrested 2 major Antifa members now, the ones who was breaking in the windows. From my understanding, the Washington Times now has face recognition of a number of other Antifa members that were involved with it. Now, these are hardly Trump supporters. And now I just watched a video, and I'm going to link it in the bottom. It's a short video. Watch it if you want, of the Capitol Police opening up the gates and telling the people, go, 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 go. And you could see some of them are Trump supporters, no doubt. There's an obvious husband and wife team. They got their arm around each other. They're just slowly walking in, not doing anything. But there's a few of them just running in, just like the gates have been opened. Another one, they open up the gates and stand aside, let them rush in. And there's this guy in this hoodie, and it looks like sweats of some sort. And he's like, come on, come on, come on. That's not MAGA. That's not even close to MAGA. We've been bamboozled. And it's all been choreographed. It's all been choreographed. They've used our weakness against us. And our weakness is we're decent, honest, hardworking people. And all they got to do is put some people inside of us, in our crowds. And they'll carry out a bunch of crimes and they'll blame it all on us. I tell you, I've been worried about, I won't say I've been worried about it. I've had a bad feeling about it for a week now. And of course the Democrats are running with it. The media is running with it. They'll exclude all the things that I just told you about. Another thing, I couldn't understand why they had so few cops inside the Capitol garden. And who was that congresswoman from California? Of course, a rabbit. And she's complaining about that. But she was trying to twist it. Well, when Black Lives Matter was there, they had all these guards around there. And it's just a sign of a double standard. And I said to myself, well, it's one of two things. Either they, didn't think there was a chance of violence from the Trump supporters, which is legitimate. I mean, how many Trump rallies have there been with no violence? Thousands. Versus maybe this was a setup. And more, we've been set up. This is almost what you would call a false flag. And it's worked beautifully for them. So I'll link that video to link the video to this video. So you can see it. Like I said, it's a really short video. You don't need to see too much. But funny how the only person shot was a Trump supporter going through the window. Not posing a threat to anybody. Yet there were people in the Capitol fighting with the police. And they weren't harmed. Makes sense to me, right? Makes sense to me. All right, y'all have a good day. Bye.